Let's take a trip around the curve. Hey, it's your girl Carla Renata, aka the Curvy Film Critic, and the Cannes Film Festival has just wrapped, and the winners have been announced, placing us at the beginning of a new and exciting award season. The Palme d'Or went to Anatomy of a Fall by Justin Treat. The Grand Prix Award went to The Zone of Interest by Jonathan Glazer. Best Director went to Tran Ah-hyung for The Pot au Feu. The jury prize went to Fallen Leaves. Best Screenplay went to Sakamoto Yuji for Monster, aka Kaibutsu, directed by Koi Ida Hirokazu. Best Performance by an Actress went to Merve Dizdar in Kuro Atlar Ustin, About Dry Grasses, directed by Nuri Blige. And Performance by an Actor went to Koji Yaka-Usho in Perfect Days. Netflix lands the Todd Haynes Buzzy Cannes competition film May-December, starring Julianne Moore and Natalie Portman. Marvel's Thunderbolts halts production amid the writer's strike. Candy Buress and her husband Todd Tucker joined the producing team of the Broadway-bound Wiz revival. Rhea Seehorn joins Will Smith and Martin Lawrence for the Sony Pic revival Bad Boys 4. Rebel Wilson is making her directorial debut with the musical comedy The Deb. Joaquin Phoenix and Rooney Mara's movie The Island shut down on the eve of their shoot as the indie movie sector faces insurance crisis over the SAG-AFTRA strike fears. Disney begins their third round of planned layoffs. 1883's Isabel May joins Journey Smollett in the Lionsgate thriller Sunflower from writer-director Misha Green. Sherry Lansing was named Chapman's Dodge College commencement speaker, and Nurse Jackie and Weeds sequels Baby are in the works at Showtime with the original stars. Dave Bautista is set for Lionsgate action comedy The Killer's Game. Elle Fanning joins Timothy Chalamet in Searchlight Pictures' A Complete Unknown. Cynthia Erivo is set to star in executive produce the film adaptation of the hit play Prima Facie. Republic Pictures and Paramount Global said Ray Stevenson's movie Casino in Ischia. Al Pacino, Viggo Mortensen, John Travolta, Shia LaBeouf, Rebecca Pidgeon, and Courtney Love are set for David Mamet's JFK thriller Assassination. And Samuel L. Jackson is set to star as disgraced White House chef in a death row drama Last Meals with Boyd Holbrook. This week on The Curvy Critic with Carla Renata, I have reviews of Victim Suspect on Netflix. You Hurt My Feelings with Julia Louis-Dreyfus, Greta Lee's new movie Past Lives, and the LeBron James biopic based on his own personal life and book, Shooting Stars. And I've got Chef Alisa Reynolds talking about searching for soul food. I also have live Lauren Veléz, and she is joined with her buddy Brian Tyree Henry, who plays Papa. Anywho, all of that is coming up live right now.
Hold up. Wait a minute. I wish you love, peace, and hair grease.
Love, peace, and hair grease, y'all.
Yeah, you know I'm shooting straight from the hip.
This is Carla Renata, aka the Curvy Critic, and I shoot straight from the hip.
Yeah, you know I'm always shooting straight from the hip.
Hello, everybody. Happy Memorial Day weekend. I hope everybody's having a nice long weekend, getting some barbecue, hanging out with their families and whatnot. I'm hanging out with my family. I've been doing a lot of hanging out with my family this weekend, so I'm having a great time. If this is your first time joining me, I'm Carla Renata, and you have tuned into The Curvy Critic with moi, Carla Renata. I do reviews and I speak with people above and below the line in the film industry. That's what we do here. I usually get into it telling you what I did the week before, and I didn't have a whole lot of personal time the week before, so we're going to get right into it with these reviews, baby. The first one is a film called You Hurt My Feelings. It stars Julia Louis-Dreyfus, Tobias Menzies, David Cross, Amber Tamblyn, and Michaela Watkins. It is an A24 film. It is only in theaters right now, and it basically deals with Julia Louis-Dreyfus's character is she happens to overhear her husband. Let me come on camera. She happens to overhear her husband after she's talked to him ad nauseum about how he likes her book, and he says, yes, 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 it's great, it's fine, it's this, it's that. He goes on to give her all these great accolades about her book, and then when he thinks she's not in earshot, he tells her brother-in-law that he hated the book. And it was almost like he cheated on her, right? Because he didn't tell her the truth. So this film basically deals with a situation where you're wondering when you should tell the truth to somebody you love and when you should lie. And or should you just, tell them a lie to keep the peace? I'm not sure what's going to happen. It's a dramedy. I know it sounds super, super serious, but it's not super, super serious. It's actually kind of funny, but it does beg the question of uh, how do you straddle that line? The funniest things in the film were Amber Tamblyn and David Cross playing this couple that Tobias Menzies' character is. He's a psychotherapist, and he has them in therapy. Baby, I hollered out loud when they sent him a bill trying to get recouped for all of the hours and money that they spent with him trying to help them with their problems, and he hadn't helped them, which I thought was pure comedy. Could you imagine every psychoanalyst patient sending them a bill and a notice saying, this is how much you owe me because you didn't help me? That made me tee hee hee out loud. And Amber Tamblyn and David Cross were fantabulous in those roles. And then Michaela Watkins as her sister was super funny. There's scenes of them at they're giving away clothing and whatnot, and they have scenes with their mother where their mother is just pure comedy, where she doesn't remember stuff, and it's actually quite funny. There's one scene in particular where their mother is in the doctor's office. I was like, that is my life right there, every day, all day long with my mom. So it was very entertaining. I enjoyed it a lot. It was directed and written by Nicole Hofsinger, and Nicole is the same person who wrote the film that Melissa McCarthy was nominated for an Oscar for a few years back. Her writing is just freaking phenomenal. It's so, 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 so funny. But it also draws you into those emotional human kind of places. So I highly suggest you check out You Hurt My Feelings. Shooting Stars is a film that is based on a book by the same name that was written by LeBron James. It is going to be streaming on Peacock TV. It might be streaming there right now. It's directed by Chris Robinson. And like I said, it's based on a book by LeBron James and the Pulitzer Prize winning author of Friday Night Lights, Buzz Kissinger. It's the inspiring origin story of LeBron James. So when he was a little kid, he belonged to this, I guess, for lack of a better way to say it, it's kind of like the Little League of baseball. It was like a little kiddies basketball team called Shooting Stars. And him and these three guys that were his friends, Willie McGee, let me get their names, Willie McGee, Lil Drew Joyce, Romeo Travis, and Sheehan Cotton. Those were his buddies, and they did everything together. And at first, they were like all the same height. And then LeBron James, as we know, is like 5,000 feet tall. But he grows, and of the four of them, he ends up being the one that becomes the person that they see as the breakout star. And the team that they're on when they go to this basketball team that they're on, they become the number one high school team in the country. And that team is what launched LeBron James's career. This is what I loved about Shooting Stars. Oftentimes when we see these stories in film, it is told from a vantage point of these boys growing up poor, growing up downtrodden, not having a daddy, in the streets beating up people or getting beaten up or being exposed to drugs or something negative, right? Some of those things did happen in the film, but that was not the focus of the film. The focus of the film was how these four young men were kept off the street with basketball and did their thing and all became very huge contributors to society in one way or another. I enjoyed that so much about that film, more than I could possibly even tell you. Um, and it was very inspiring. Like I walked out super inspiring. And the screening that I went to, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was there. And I don't know about you if you've ever seen Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, but he has to be like 8 feet tall. I'm 5 feet tall, but I say I'm 5'2", but he's like five. Well, he's not 5 feet tall. He's got to be 8 feet tall because my head literally probably came to one of his butt cheeks if it came up that high. I was like, I had never seen a man so tall in my life, and he was such a gentle spirit, and he was walking really slow, and people were kind of like looking like, is that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar at the Regent at the Regal Cinemas LA Live? Like, is that him? It was hilarious. But he introduced the film along with some of his colleagues and producers of the film. And I got to tell you, it was really cool. If you can watch this film with a group of kids, it is the best thing ever. Because I was in a theater with a bunch of high school kids, and they got their entire life, and they got me excited. So again, it's called Shooting Stars. It's directed by Chris Robinson, and it's on Peacock TV. Um, I got to see another film that I absolutely love that stars this woman right here. Her name is Greta Lee. And Greta Lee, if that face looks familiar, you have seen her on The Morning Show, you have seen her on Russian Doll, and you have seen her on Girls. But in past lives, baby, let me tell you, Greta Lee is doing the daggone thing. This film is directed and written by Celine Song, and it stars, as I said, Greta Lee, and her co-star is Tae Yu, who plays Hai Sung, and John Magaro, who plays Arthur. Arthur ends up being Greta's husband. Basically, this is the tale of these two little kids that are growing up in Korea, in South Korea, and they have that kitty, like that puppy love thing, and then the girl moves away, and the boy never really got over her. He's been pining for her his whole life. Of course, he's gone on and he's dated other girls and had other relationships and moved on with his life. But like anybody, if there's somebody in your life when you were a kid or even as an adult that you broke up or they moved away and you're like, I wonder what happened to them, you get curious. And because we have the internet, you can like go on the internet and scour and look and see what happened to them. So FYI, but not really, I literally had this happen to me yesterday. I was on my phone and I happened to see a message pop up on LinkedIn. And it said that somebody was looking for me. And when I saw who it was somebody that I went to a prom with when I was in high school that I have not seen since we were in college together at Howard University. And when I tell you, I was like, wow. And I always wondered like how he ended up, what happened to him, where he's going. And he's retired now. And, he has children and he's married and he's thrilled with his life and thrilled with his retirement. And I'm so happy that he's happy. But we didn't have like that star-crossed lovers thing. We were just really good friends helping each other out with a prom. But in this film, it's really intense. And it tells the story in 12-year increments. So we see them when they're 12, we see them again when they're 24, and then we see them again a little 12 more years after that. We see them 12 more years after that. And there are some people that you meet in life that you connect with, and it is an unbreakable bond and an unbreakable connection. There aren't enough miles and people and time to separate you that will destroy that. And that is the crutch of this film. What happens to young love when you grow up, and how do you let go of someone that you feel destined with? Baby, when I tell you, I was in the ugly cry after I walked out of the theater. I literally had to sit in a car and collect myself. I cried so hard, not because I was sad, I'm about to cry now, but because the film really seriously touched my heart. It is called Past Lives. It is an A24 film, and it is in theaters, I believe, beginning June 2nd. Let me see. It might be on the poster. This is coming soon. It's June 2nd, I believe, if not already in theaters. All right. So, yeah, y'all, that one, it that film messed me all the way up. Before I get into this next film, though, I want to talk to you about this chef. This chef right here, Miss Alisa Reynolds, she has a restaurant in Los Angeles called My Two Cents. Is she has this Onyx Collective Hulu docu-series called Searching for Soul Food, and the tagline is finding the flavors that connect us all. When I tell you, I got hungry. I'm like, I need to go to My Two Cents. I actually looked up the menu online and was like, I need to try to find a way to get over there. I told her I was going, and I am going to come over there. I might go over there for Memorial Day and just have a little, nice little munchy munch meal then. But I had a talk with her, and we talked about the episodes. We talked about her. We talked about a stigma that's associated with soul food. But instead of me just keep telling you what we talked about, I'll just let you see what we talked about. Here is Chef Alisa Reynolds talking about her docuseries, Searching for Soul Food. Take a look.
What's up, Chef?
Hi, Carla. What's going down?
Listen, girl, you know nothing but the mortgage.
You can't. Yo, girl, shoot.
Listen, you overstand. I know that you do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you were talking in your series saying that you were classically trained but soul food raised, I really love that you started every episode out that way. And I really wanted to know more than anything else, other than your infamous tagline. How did you find these chefs and these farmers and these restaurants all around the world? Because I'd seen another series that's similar to this called The Hog on Netflix. I'm sure you're familiar with it.
Yes.
But they kept it very indicative to just Black people, black.
Right,
They didn't take it all over the world. So I just was curious why you decided to do it this way, because it was really interesting.
Well, one thing, I love High on the Hog and how he's doing his thing. I wanted to take it a different direction because I wanted to inflate the power of us a little bit more, and I wanted to put us on the global stage. You know what I mean? I wanted to show the power of what we've created here and show that there's not one country I could walk into and say the word soul food and they don't know. They may not know exactly what it is, but they've heard of it. And I wanted to see how we all connected through this story of struggle, pain that turns into love. How do these meals have affected other people in other countries? I mean, Peru, the Japanese were damn near slaves on per diem. We don't even know. They had to figure out sushi over there. Like all of this. These
are slaves on per diem, Chef.
Yes. They gave them a little something. And it was like they thought they was going home. They were like, you ain't going nowhere. So that's one of the things that I wanted to highlight. Like sometimes in America, we get so bogged down in the struggle and it's this is progress to me. This is power. We have to show I have to inspire people by what is given to me, my hands, my craft. And I think that there's young people out there that go, oh, wow, that's what we look like when we go, to different countries, or now we can tell our story, because a lot of people shame soul food and they say we shouldn't make it anymore and all of these things, but it's because they don't understand that soul food is love. And if you want to evolve it, but don't erase it.
I love that you brought that up, because I remember when you were in LA and you were talking to the Korean barbecue dude, and he said that it's called soul food, or he believes that it's called soul food because you can't bound a soul.
Yes.
Right. Yes. And that people want to love and they want to eat. So that ties in perfectly with what you just said.
Yeah.
Having said that, is there any recipe during the course of your travels that you decided to add to your restaurant menu at My Two Cents?
There is not a recipe yet, but I had some things that had jerk in it, but I started playing with, I did a rib special, and I did an agave jerk, thinking about, the Maroons and in Jamaica. There's some other things that are on the list, but I've been so kind of busy doing this that I haven't really got a chance to get in there and get it going. But there's so many great things. Even just the hot water cornbread, finding out that, hello,
that part.
And they took that from them, then we still have, okay. And that's another thing about this series. I want the audience to be surprised just like me. I want to come in and all of us are like, what? And I just want to be the vessel to us knowing more, because the sad stories and that right now we need something that uplifts us and everybody, and we need to stop with this guilty past of trying to erase our history.
That brings me to this. I remember at one point you were talking about through each episode, through each country or city that you went to, you specifically dealt with Black culture in some shape, form, or fashion, and how our cultures have literally been forced to search for soul food, right? And the stigma that has been attached to soul food, especially when it comes to our people having diabetes and, and what comes along with that.
Right.
But I remember, and I can't remember which episode it was, but there was one episode where someone was talking about that's a stigma. Diabetes is a stigma, and Black people don't get diabetes from eating soul food. They get it because of the way it's cooked.
Right. And they don't get it. Also, they don't get it. There's a lot of other foods that can give you diabetes that Black people like. But at the same time, they have to think about it. When soul food was created, it was not as it evolved for a second and became this, whatever it was doing. It was farm to table. Basically, everybody had a farm. Every grandmother was growing vegetables. You see what I'm saying? And we didn't get that much meat. So it's us that needs to evolve our food. That's why I like to call it my food evolve nostalgia. It makes you feel like grandma, but it makes you feel like today. You don't get the itis, but you feel amazing.
I love that you said you don't get the itis. You are so freaking real. I love you. I love you. There was the one episode that you did in Mississippi that reminded me so much of my hometown, St. Louis, Missouri, when you were at Maxine. It reminded me of church on Sundays in St. Louis, where they would be cooking in the basement and you could see food as you came around the corner.
Yes.
I wanted to know, for you, other than that place where you smelled the food coming around the corner, what was the one place that you went to that just resonated to your core?
It was Maxine's, and it was also in the LA episode, it was Woody's Barbecue, because Woody's Barbecue has been a staple in my house since I was born. And it came when a time that all of us would get together and there was no competition when you were trying to make Black business. It was everybody was helping everybody. And that was inspiring to hear their story. And that tapped into who we are as people. That's why it became soulful, because it is love. You know what I mean? And I think that really hit home at home was Woody's Barbecue.
Cool. Well, here at home, I'm in LA, so I'm bringing my peeps over to My Two Cents, and we're going to get our big rub on. I hope that you will be there that day when we show up, but I'm going to find out your hours and we coming through, okay?
Sounds good to me. I'll be there.
All right. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you.
Thank you. I can't wait for you to watch this series. Make sure you're up with your popcorn on June 2nd, Hulu, Onyx Collective, Searching for Soul Food. I appreciate you.
Better get that plug in. Thank you.
You know I'm doing it.
Thank you. I enjoyed talking to her. She had so much energy and is so vivacious and so much fun. It was just great speaking to her. I really, really, really enjoyed speaking to her. I wanted to tell y'all something else, but let me go to the comments. I think Brandon may have left me a message. He did. So he said he can't wait. He super can't wait for Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse this week. He's seeing it in IMAX. I am going to see it this week as well, Brandon. So we'll be seeing it in real time together. So thank you. And always thank you for dropping by. I appreciate you. Before I get to this last interview that I promised you guys, let me talk to you about this film called Victim Suspect. I had some photos in here. I don't know where they went, but I'll just go ahead and talk and look I'll talk and look. How about that? Um, it is this film called Victim Suspect. It is on, let me find this right here. Okay. It is on Netflix. And I watched it last night. I was feeling kind of lazy last night. And so I turned on Netflix and I saw that they had this new docuseries. And I love docuseries and documentaries, as you guys know. And they had this one, it's directed by this woman named Nancy Schwartzman. And it basically chronicles, let me pull it over so I can read it. I want to get the facts right. It chronicles this journalist named Ray DeLeon's investigation into a disturbing pattern. Young women who report sexual assault to the police, but instead of their perpetrators being brought to justice, these women are arrested for filing false reports. And then there's an article that's published all over the internet the very next day, in some instances before they're even released. Working for the Center of Investigative Reporting, De Leon's exhaustive research uncovers a surprising large number of these cases nationwide. I think the numbers were, she found 52 cases that were very similar in that respect. And out of the 36 out of the 52 were charged with filing a false report. She ends up unearthing telling recordings of police interviews with these victims, featuring firsthand accounts with numerous young women, as well as interviews with police, investigators, and legal experts. Victim Suspect raises a crucial question about how the criminal justice system treats sexual assault victims. I think this is an extremely important film to watch right now because we are in a very dangerous time in America where the truth and facts have always been a little askew and been treated a little funky, but nowadays more so than in the past. And when I tell you these little girls in this documentary that have been, they've been railroaded, for lack of a better way. So there is this technique that I found out, had never heard this term before, but in the course of this documentary, they talk about this technique called ruse, RUSE, where the police officers have you in an interrogation room and they make you think that they have evidence on you. Now, you know that you reported a sexual assault. You know what happened to you, but they put you in this room with this white noise and they leave you in there for hours and hours at a time. And they keep misconstruing the facts and flipping the facts to the point where you get to a place where you just want to go home. And so then you just tell them whatever you need to tell them in order to go home. There was one woman in particular who kept telling them that she didn't come from a certain direction. She came from another direction. They said, no, we have videotape. And it always started with, we have videotape showing you, so you might as well tell us the truth. And because there are cameras everywhere when you walk down the street, these young ladies didn't know whether they were telling the truth or not. Some of these young ladies, their lives were upended. Some of them passed away. Some of them are still in court. Some of them didn't have their court cases overturned. It is a hot mess, but I promise you, it is fascinating. And if you are a woman, young, old, or otherwise, you definitely need to watch this documentary because it will turn everything upside down for you and educate you all at the same time. All right. So having said all of that, I have interviews today. My last interview is with this woman right here. Her name is Lauren Veléz. Now, if she looks familiar to you, she was in the first Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. But in addition to that, you would recognize her from these TV shows. She was on New York Undercover. That's a horrible picture, but that's her. She was on Dexter. I don't think she played his love interest. She may have at one point, but she starred right opposite the star right here. And she also has another film coming out, the new Transformers film. She is also in that. So she got 2 films dropping this week, or not this week, but this year. And then in addition to her, we have her paired up with my boy, Brian Tyree Henry, who's playing the character. Oh, and let me show, do I have a picture of Luna's character? I don't think I have a picture of Luna's character. Let me see. Oh, wait, I do. So here's Luna's character that she plays in Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. And then here's her at a previous Spider-Man junket. So without further ado, I want you to take a look and a listen to this fantabulous interview
with my friends Luna Lauren Veléz and Brian Tyree Henry, who is starring in Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, which is dropping in theaters real soon. I'll give you the specific date when I come back. Take a look and a listen. Here we go. What's up, fam?
What's going on?
What is happening? Let me just congratulate y'all on everything that you've accomplished this year, Brian, on your Oscar nom.
Thank you.
Yes. With your new movie. You got 2 major movies coming out in 1 year. Y'all better go.
Yeah, we're doing it. Thank you.
Absolutely. You're very welcome. So one of the points that comes across in the film for me is the fact that heroes exist in all types of cultures. And I'm just curious to know, who would you consider your personal heroes in your cultures?
It's interesting. We were just having this discussion.
Yeah, we were.
For both of us, if I can speak for you on this one,
Absolutely.
Our mothers were very much our heroes. My mom raised 8 children, and my dad was a cop.
Wow.
Did you know that?
I did not know that.
I never told you
Never
that.
told me that.
I thought I shared everything.
Wow.
But yeah, so all of this resonates with me very deeply, and this idea of a hero, I don't have to look really far. It's it's right in front of me. My mom, my sisters, like the strongest women around me, really making the best out of every single situation that they have with love and kindness and compassion, and I mean a superhuman strength.
Yeah, basically. I'm going to piggyback on that. My mother was one of my biggest heroes ever because she could do anything in my eyes. I was like, how is she feeding 5 kids with $20? That's heroic. You know what I'm saying? How can she decorate this house with a good blanket and like some throw pillows? How is she able to continue to be so strong and step out of this house dressed to the nines?
Yes.
You never know.
Yeah.
Like, it's a superhero power. And I think that's just a testimony to the power of Black women and women of color in general, because it's hard. It's really hard. It is very hard. And somehow her strength never wavered. It just never wavered. And so the reason that I sit here, the reason that I know how to walk through this world as a man is because of this wonderful Black woman. So yeah, and I don't think we give enough testimony to our brown and Black women for how strong they are and how heroic they are. And so I just hope that my living is a testimony to that. So, and we really wanted to bring a lot of that into this movie, which you can see a lot between the connection between Miles and his mom, and the nurturing, and not just the nurturing, but the guidance and the love, the tenacity that we've instilled in him, and especially what Luna brings to it. There's so many moments in this where I just sit back and I was in such awe, because I was like, these are the talks that I kind of remember with my mother, of her trying to teach this Black man how to be in this world as a Black man. And I don't know, I think that so many viewers will be able to relate to this and will need to hear this, especially in this time and age. And I don't know, those heroes, we don't build enough statues for the right ones, you know what I'm saying? we don't put enough plaques in the right places for, but I hope that this movie is a bit of a testimony and a shout out to those mothers, and to those parents who are raising these wonderful kids of color, and letting them know that they're seen and heard.
Well, clearly your parents raised 2 wonderful people of color, and it's been my immense pleasure to talk to y'all. What's up and goodbye, and I love you, and I'm looking forward to seeing y'all soon. I could have spent the whole half hour or hour.
Same.
Thank you.
It's always good to see you.
Always good to see you, brother. Bye.
Take care.
So I'm back. I just had the wrong picture up. Sorry about that. Yay! So I love them, and oops, my bad. Clicked the wrong button. I love them, and I love how forthcoming they were about their moms and how they look at their moms as heroes, as most of us do. So that was kind of cool to hear them say that, and I really appreciated them taking time out for me. Always appreciate them taking time out for me. I know there's a lot of noise going on. I'm so sorry. But I also wanted to tell you about one more film before I go. HBO Max, as we know, has changed their name from HBO Max to Max. And they have a documentary streaming right now about one of my favorite comedians, Miss Mary Tyler Moore, and it's called The Woman Behind the Smile. So I wanted to just talk a little bit about this. Mary Tyler Moore was she was kind of in American television and in the hearts of a lot of people that watch American television. She was kind of like Lucy. Like, we loved her. We loved watching her on any TV show. She was so funny. We watched her on the Dick Van Dyke Show. We watched her on the Mary Tyler Moore Show when she went into films and decided that she was going to be in Ordinary People, which earned her an Oscar nomination. We watched her there. That was a film that was directed by Rob Redford. You might want to check it out if you haven't seen it. And then when she came out about her struggle with diabetes, we were there for her for that. When her son, Richie, took his own life, we were there for her for that. When she went to Broadway, we were there for her for that. She was like America's sweetheart. And I personally loved her dearly. This documentary is not light and fluffy. I mean, I find it very interesting that most people who come from a comedic background always have a personal life that is not so light and fluffy. So her life is no different, but it's very interesting. And they tell everything. Like, they don't leave they don't leave nothing on the table for you to guess about, not a daggone thing. So I just wanted to make you aware of that one. In addition, I wanted to just go back and reiterate what I did talk about. So let me just pull up the pictures and go in order so that you know what I talked about. So we talked about Mary Tyler Moore, which is streaming on Max. I told y'all about Victim Suspect, which is a Netflix documentary dealing with not missing women who have been sexually assaulted, and the police reports are saying just the opposite. We talked about we talked about who else did we talk about? We talked about Past Lives. We talked about Searching for Soul Food. Past Lives hits theaters on June 2nd. Searching for Soul Food hits theaters on June 2nd. Shooting Stars hits Peacock on June 2nd. And You Hurt My Feelings is in theaters now. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse hits next week. I believe it also hits. Let me just find out real quick when exactly it hits, because I don't want to tell y'all the wrong thing. But I do know it hits theaters next week. It hits June 1st. So it hits theaters June 1st, but I think the official opening is on June 2nd. Having said all of that, I have a very special guest coming in next week. And let me just show y'all, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is going to be in theaters next week, June 1st, June 2nd. I have a very special guest coming to talk to me about Juneteenth and some other things that I'll let you know that it's that she is working on. But I'm also going to review the Arnold Schwarzenegger documentary called Arnold. It's a docu-series that is on Netflix. And I'm also going to talk about Flamin' Hot, Eva Longoria's new film that is coming out that she has directed. And baby, wait to yeah, I'll reserve that comment for another time. I'll just reserve that comment for another time. But that is it. Sorry, this went super long. I was trying to make it a little shorter, but I got on such a roll talking about Victim Suspect that I got behind. Anywho, thank you so much for joining me. If this is your first time here, please give me a big thumbs up and click the bell for notifications. If you are on the YouTube, remember what I do here is I do film reviews, docuseries reviews, documentary reviews, and I talk to people above and below the line in the film industry. Thank you to Lauren Veléz, Brian Tyree Henry, and Chef Alisa Reynolds for giving me their time to speak with them about their projects, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse and Searching for Soul Food, which will be streaming on Hulu on June 2nd. Now, you heard Chef Alisa. She told you she gave her own plug. I didn't even have to give it for her. So thank you so much for joining me. And until the next time, y'all, stay safe. Oops. I just keep clicking the wrong buttons. Stay safe, stay sane. Oh, I forgot to tell you about Shooting Stars. Let me put Shooting Stars back up. Shooting Stars. There she is, Shooting Stars. So until the next time, stay safe, stay sane. Have a beautiful Memorial Day later on in the week. And then when I come back, we will be in the month of June. It will be Black Pride Month. It'll be Black Music Month. It'll be Pride Month. It'll be so many different things happening in June, and I'm going to celebrate all of it. So until then, love, peace, and hair grease, and I'll see you on the flip side. Bye.